Welcome back to another PHP tutorial, Pixelweb. In this episode, I'm going to introduce you to functions and how you can use them in your PHP programming. Functions pretty much are blocks of code that you can use and reuse within your web app or website. They are very easy to create, and there's actually about 1,000 or more already pre-built functions within the PHP programming language, but you can also create your own functions. So let's take a look at that now. We're going to go into our text editor, and I created a functions.php file that's inside my php_tooth folder. So in here, we're going to create a user-defined function. So in order to do that, you have to type out function, and then we have to give our function a name. And just remember that functions are not case sensitive, so just choose a style and you can pretty much stick with it, but they're not case sensitive, so don't worry about that. So we're going to do create a function called say_hi, and then you're going to put in your parentheses and then curly braces. So this is the way you create a function. You type out the word function, and then you give your function a name, and then parentheses, and then the curly braces, and then inside the curly braces is the code that will be run. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do a simple demonstration. We're going to put in echo, and then in the string we'll say hi. All right, so we're going to save that. So this is a very basic function. It's nothing evolutionary over here, but it's just a demonstration of creating a function. So when you create a function, all it's doing is just creating that block of code that you can use later on. If you call up this file in the browser, nothing's gonna be outputted because we haven't called it yet. So outside of the curly braces, we're going to then call our function, and the way you do that is you just call the name. So it's say_hi, and then you're going to put the parentheses and then the semicolon, and you're going to save that. So this is calling the function say hi. So let's see what happens there. We save the file. We're going to go back into our browser, and then we're going to go to functions.php, and then it says hi. All right, so it's just outputting that information. If you want to change that around, you can say hello, and then you see the new text being generated. All right, so this is just a basic demonstration of a function. So what else can we do with functions? We can also put parameters in there. So if we wanted to, inside these parentheses, we can create a variable, put a variable parameter in there, or an argument, and we're going to just call it name. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to just say name, and then we can choose a last name here, and then we're going to put a period there. All right, so what we're doing here is we are passing in an argument, and that argument is going to be name, and then over here when we echo it, the first thing we're going to echo is the name, and then Smith being the last name, obviously. And then let's create a BR tag there as well. Okay, so we have our BR tags because we're going to have them show up on different lines. So we're going to say, we're going to do say hi. We're going to copy that several times. Okay. So in here, we're going to pass along strings. So we're going to say Jane, string John, Jill, and then we can do Joe. All right, so now we have 4 names and then Smith right there. All right, so now what can we do? We're going to also just say hi, in that manner. So what we're doing here is we're passing the parameters, the one parameter name, we're saying hi, and then the name, we're calling in that name, and then Smith. So over here, when we call it, let's see what happens. Hi, Jane Smith. Hi, John Smith. Hi, Jill Smith. Hi, Joe Smith. All right, so that gave us the results we wanted. All right, so that's one thing we can do with functions. Functions are really good. You don't always have to have arguments or parameters, but you can. And you can get these from, other areas of your application or database or things of that nature, these arguments. You can predefine them. There's a lot of things you can do. All right, so what else can we do with functions? We can also do some, calculations as well. So let's comment this out right here. And we're going to create some variables. We're going to call one of them x, assign the value of 20. And then we're going to say y, assign the value of 30. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to say function. We're going to create our function. We're going to say add, and then inside the parentheses, we're going to just quickly, we're going to put in 2 arguments here. We're going to say num1, and then we're going to make it a comma separator list, and we're just going to say num2. And then outside the parentheses, we're going to open up our curly braces, and then we're going to echo out, and we don't need the quotation marks here, and we're going to say that we're going to add num1 plus num2. Okay, so you see what we're doing here, right? So now what I'm doing is I am creating 2 variables, one with the value of 20 and one with the value of 30. And then in my function add, my add function, I'm putting in 2 arguments with the placeholders, num1 and num2. And then inside of there, I'm going to echo out on num1 plus num2. All right, so now when I call, I'm going to put in my parentheses over here, add, and then the parentheses, and then I'm going to put in the x and then the y. Okay, then outside there, I'm going to put the semicolon. So just to follow through the flow of it, we have the x and the y with the values, with the function add, and then we're going to echo these results. So now we're going to save it. We're going to go into our browser. We're going to refresh the browser, and you see we get the result of 15. So you can do this with subtraction, multiplication, division. You could create functions to do calculations for you within your website or web app or things of that nature. It's very user friendly, and functions are not that difficult. Once you get the hang of it, you just got to play around with it and see how it can benefit you within your code. So now we saw how we can create functions without arguments, and how we can create functions with arguments, and how we can use it for calculations. There's a lot more you can do with functions. You just got to get creative and play around with it to see how it can work for you. Hopefully you found this episode helpful. If you did, give us a thumbs up, and if you have any thoughts, ideas, or questions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll take a look at that. And don't forget to subscribe, because we're going to go deeper into PHP programming in the upcoming episodes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.